Okay. Welcome to this meeting of the Milton Planning Board. It's October 25th. We're here in the Carol Blute Conference Room. Now tonight, our meeting is going to be televised live with sound and recorded also with sound. So, excellent. Now, I'm Alex Whiteside, the chairman, and with me are
Bernie Lynch, member.
Emily Ennis, member.
Ed Duffy, member.
William Clark, Planning Director.
Now, what do we know about the missing member?
Mr. Kelly, probably stuck in traffic.
The traffic was actually really
Oh,
bad
it's a
coming
bitch.
out of the city, so.
Okay, so we know nothing.
Not yet.
Okay,
We're working on that right now.
we'll work on that. Now, we have a set of minutes for the 18th. Have people read them?
I have, Mr. Chairman, I have some changes,
Okay.
proposed changes. And I wish to say this before I see what the changes are. I've gone into some detail on the changes because I think we could have some ramifications down the road. So I'm trying to get a scenario just downright the way it happened as I remember it.
Should we, sorry to interrupt, Eddie, should you have them given to Jean so she can put them in and we can all look at them for the next meeting if they're that
If you want to do it that
long?
way, we can do it that way. I already talked to...
Probably the best way to do it.
Okay.
I think that might be easier.
Okay.
That'll save you having to read them out and then
Good-
us all scribble down.
Good advice,
so.
thank you, yeah. So Jean, early next week, I'll get them to you, okay? Yeah, but if I can come around tomorrow, it'll be tomorrow. Yeah, thank you.
I have a short little addition.
Okay?
Page 3.
Give it,
In
Time out.
regards to the open space development.
you can give it to Jean, and she'll type it up, and
And that way
then
we can
we'll,
do them all together.
And we'll
Well, no,
consider
I'd
them
like
all
to
on the
just say
8th.
this. It says that, just check it with Jean, it says the board voted 2-2 and the motion failed. This was the motion to approve the open space development. But it doesn't say who the 2 votes were for or who.
I have that in my version, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Okay,
so that will be,
excellent.
we'll get to that. Now, we're going to meet next on November 8th. We're not going to meet before the next session of the town meeting.
Okay.
Fun though those meetings are.
Even though both of our articles, we're not...
Even though I don't see any reason
Okay.
that we can't assemble on the floor if there are,
Right, we're posted for the town
Okay with
meeting,
you?
so we can make any
right.
changes.
So we
It's
can,
nothing that
I
we need
think
to-
that,
Mike is on his way.
If we're there at 7, you want to get there at 7 and do it? Or Bill, can we do it without meeting?
I posted the meeting so that if you want to meet ahead of time, you're all set to go. I
I,
did post the
Tough
meeting
for you?
just in case.
it's tough for me,
Oh, all
but
right.
you know, that's not a problem.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
We'll
I
wing it.
don't think that, I don't, unless you get a telephone call from the town planner saying we're on, we're not on.
Okay.
All right, now we get to our citizen speak portion of the meeting. And this is always a high point. So we're looking forward to some good citizen input tonight. All right. Although this was a highly anticipated part of the meeting, it appears that there are no citizens available to speak to us. Now, we get to, also another high point is the town planners report.
Excellent.
And so, Mr. Clark.
Okay. I've been preparing this stuff for town meeting, both for this board and for the selectman's office. Dealing with some other issues with 131 Elliott as we attempt to maybe bring that issue back to the board,
To this board?
to this board.
Really?
We're working magic behind the scenes.
When you say working magic, this is working with Mr. Connolly
We are,
on a new Or you cannot be more specific at
We'll
this
be more
time?
specific
Okay.
at our next meeting.
Okay, great, excellent.
We're hoping Mr. Conley will be receptive to our new plan. Uland Skating Rink, just some management issues with it. The wind turbine, dealing with some of the finding all of the different electrical bills that we have in town, dealing with some of the green community issues that we have with all our municipal buildings. Some wireless telecommunication stuff that's going on with replacing dishes, adding new small antennas and stuff. Signs, it's the same old. Master plan, we set up the guided tour preliminarily for, November.
Committee?
Signs, same old, but I was
We have it-
drifting.
you
What
want
was
to know
that
which
sign?
signs we're doing? The selectmen have approved a two-sided sign for the St. Elizabeth's property.
Yeah, saying,
A real estate, it's a for sale sign. The Steel and Rye, the new restaurant down in the
how
Fallon
big
building.
a sign?
4 feet by 6.
Why such a big
Double-sided.
sign?
That's what they asked for. It'd be temporary sign, 45 days.
Is everyone who wants to sell their property now gonna have a 4x6 for sale sign on their property?
On commercial properties, it's not unheard of.
This is not a commercial property,
I
this is a
understand that,
residential
but
property.
that's what they asked for, that's what the selectmen granted them.
Well, it sounds to me like
They
the
did
sign
give
is
them
too
that
big.
before. Okay.
You said it was a two-sided. Is it one sign
They
painted
actually-
on both sides?
When they came to me, they said they
Positive.
wanted one sign. They wanted one
I
for
heard the
Randolph
meeting.
Ave. They asked for one on Randolph Ave, one on Reedsdale Road. When they sent me the letter, they said, a sign. When I went to the selectmen, I made the explanation, and they said, we'll make it a double-sided sign, they can put it on the corner. They weren't gonna give them two, so,
Is it flared out or is it just?
no, one single sign,
Is it lit at night?
no,
Is it in Latin, maybe?
no. Next.
Qui fece ciò.
Master plan, the guided tour for the membership, for the master plan committee. Home program, the house up on 47 Walcott is moving along nicely. The foundation is in. They're putting in the new sewer line. They're working on a gas line. They're looking to have occupancy by spring. I've been dealing with the issues of the Bosworth easement, the legal issues with it. And I didn't get anything back from them today, so that may affect 7:15.
I would think that would affect it.
Yes, it will. Steel and Rye, the restaurant in the Fallon building is due to open next week.
And have the invitations gone out?
You didn't get yours?
I didn't get mine.
I got mine.
You got yours? See, I didn't get one.
See?
You're the popular guy.
Well,
The signs got approved at the selectmen's meeting Monday night.
how big is that sign?
12 by 18.
12 feet. No,
Obviously not significant.
they are, this isn't right. The letters are, it's probably 12-inch letters, and it's a little over 10 feet long. It's painted in the upper right-hand corner of the building as you come down Elliott Street, and then there will be a 36 by 48-inch blade sign that will hang down under the canopy on the corner of the building by what will be the patio. Patio's in, it's very nice. The inside is really nice.
And the blade sign is sort of like a rustic English pub?
Yeah, but cut off the ends.
It doesn't have to be rustic.
Is it rustic?
It is very rustic inside.
And so
Steel
the
and Rye is
sign will
probably
be
a good
rustic
name.
also, I assume.
It is. It's
Yeah.
double-sided blade sign, galvanized steel frame, tongue and groove wood plank stained black. And they have applied dimensional white letters, painted lines and accents around it.
Very nice. Good job.
It actually looks really nice. The inside looks nice. We're working on
And
the
Ed, we
final
expect a
issues.
full report at our next meeting.
Okay, I'll do that, yep. I'll see if I can get you guys invited.
You could go as your posse.
And that should do it.
Oh, just one question.
Yeah.
The old DeWolf building, they have the roof on.
Yes.
It looks big.
I have asked the building inspector the same question, just
big.
because this board has asked me. And he said it is still under the 35 feet that is required in that area.
Aren't they supposed to reproduce what was there before?
Pretty much, that was my understanding.
35 feet.
I
from
mean, what was the
elevation
point were
of the
we
front,
talking
I mean, the
about
front
if they're
side is
just
long,
gone
so
out
it
and
probably
done
looks
whatever they want to do?
Huge, and the backside is
Yeah, I thought they
higher,
had
Yes.
to.
Save the
meet
facade or something?
what
Around it,
the
no,
approved,
They can't
right?
get
I
that.
would
That
think
was sort
that,
of the
They
point
raised the
of what we
foundation.
did.
Weren't they supposed to save some of the building?
My recollection, because I have
Yes.
property on that street, the foundation is much higher than I recollected it.
Is the finish fill around the foundation? I really don't know.
No, I don't, I
mean,
think,
that would-
no.
And if the finish
I
fill's
keep
coming.
looking at it
we
going up
look
and
and
up.
keep going up. I don't know, I'll have to go back,
all right.
but I asked
It
the
just doesn't look
building
like-
inspector.
You sit
He is-
below it on the road too, so.
Have
it
you
looks
read
like
our
it's-
decision? Has anyone read our decision on this thing?
Yes, I have.
You meant
I was going to
right? I
give
mean,
you a different answer, but yes, I have.
Do we have a
Well,
copy of that next week?
It doesn't seem to me that we're getting what we thought we were getting.
I can only go back to the building inspector and ask him the same question again, and I will.
Can we get a copy of our decision for next time?
Yes.
Thank you, Bill.
All right. Now, shall we go right into our 6:45 definitive subdivision hearing?
I think so.
Do we have everyone here?
Yes.
Yeah.
You are?
Okay, we've got a full complement of engineers, developers,
Cadre.
cadre, enthusiastic supporters.
Yes, I brought them all.
Okay,
Good evening, my name is Paul Sullivan, I'm the applicant for a two-lot subdivision at 86 Walcott Street. And the existing condition is a ranch home that's situated on 4.3 acres.
okay, these are handouts for the board.
Yes.
Well, good.
So the cover sheet shows the existing conditions. There's an existing ranch house, a detached garage, and an empty swimming pool. That pool's been filled in. It's no longer there. The access to the property is from a private lane that comes off Brush Hill Road. There's 3 or 4 homes on that lane. In the assessor's plan, it shows the house as 1035 Brush Hill Road as a mailing address, but its legal address is 86 Walcott. What we're proposing to do is subdivide a 40,000 square foot lot. The zoning is residential A. It's 150 feet of frontage and 40,000 square feet of land area to create a house lot. And what we're proposing is a private lane that's in keeping with the neighborhood, where there's several private lanes in the area, including the lane to the existing house. The lane is, as it crosses in front of Lot 1, is a 30-foot right-of-way with a proposal for 14 feet of asphalt. And then it continues on into Lot 2, and it creates 150 feet of frontage in a straight line. And we suggesting that it might be,
Okay, now where is the straight line from?
I think you see it on page 2.
It's the dotted line.
It says 155.9. It's from one end of the,
Okay, 155.9. So
so it ties into the existing driveway, basically. A combination of the existing driveway and the proposed driveway. The existing ranch house is being preserved. It was totally gutted, and there's an addition that was framed onto it, along with a 2-car attached garage. And the driveway will run up into that garage. So the access, for the most part, for this house will continue to be the private lane that runs out to Brush Hill Road. And the new lane will be more of for emergency access. It will have rights over the lane. It will own the portion of the lane that exists on Lot 2. And Lot 1 will own the lane as it crosses in front of Lot 1.
Okay, you're going to need a little homeowner's document, you know?
Yes, an association,
Right.
shared maintenance of the property.
Right.
Lane.
Have you got drainage stuff?
Yes, on page 4, there's some,
And have the town reviewed it yet?
They have, but I haven't heard back from them, but they have reviewed it.
Okay,
They didn't
so
have
we
any
will,
issues.
we will hear back from them.
They haven't had any issues with it.
Okay.
as far as the utilities, the owner has an easement agreement to come from Big Blue Drive. There's existing sewer, and the sewer was already actually was brought down onto the property, and that easement and that sewer line will feed both Lot 1 and Lot 2. New water services will be brought in for both homes off of Walcott. There'll be a combination of overhead and then underground electric, cable, and telephone will be brought onto the property. New gas services will be brought in for both homes off of Walcott.
Okay, the overhead is a waiver, I think.
Okay, yeah, what it is along the lane, we proposed, there was 2 existing poles on the property. So that's how the service was to the existing home at 1035. And so we were just going to reuse those poles. And then, not to the houses, the services to the houses would be underground.
Yeah, but you would, on the pole, you'd go down but since you're going to need a waiver to keep the pole,
Okay, add the waiver for the poles, okay.
which you would add to your waiver section. And the other thing, it seems to me that your roadway, I'm happy enough with the going from the side of the right-of-way on the north. But on the south, it seems to me you're going to have to push that 25-foot easement down a little bit, the roadway in the 25-foot easement, this on the south, so
right.
that you get
The 150
150 feet
Right.
to of pavement rather than of right-of-way. And you might make a small T down there.
Okay. Well, if we ran it straight ahead to the end of the right-of-way, the row, we'd actually hit the driveway, which would create a T at the end. The driveway would go right past the end of it.
Well, I mean, is that a terrible thing?
No, that's fine. It's only,
I mean, that would
would tie right into
solve
the,
the turnaround
Sure.
situation pretty
Yeah.
nicely.
and in front of the existing garage, the detached garage, there's quite a area of asphalt in front, so there'd be a nice turnaround if you tied that to the existing and the proposed driveway.
The existing drive. Okay, and then you'd simply differentiate the drive from
Yes.
street. So you're gonna have the homeowner's document regarding upkeep of this street,
Okay.
waivers. Were there any other waivers that we see? Yeah.
Paul, what's the width of the surface on Kinsale Lane coming in? The width of the street?
It'll be 14 feet, which most of the previous lanes that were proposed, that's the width.
What about the other, it's 30 feet wide, what's gonna be on the edges?
It's 14 going down to 12,
Yeah,
It's 14 go down to 12 on...
where it turns.
Okay,
And where it turns, it goes down to 12.
after it gets onto the lot 2, yes.
and what's the width of the easement to Brush Hill Road? The paved easement width,
30 feet.
paved 30 feet?
The asphalt's 14 and the right-of-way is 30. So there'll be grass strips on both sides and some plantings.
Wait a second. You just said Brush Hill Road.
The easement to Brush Hill
Oh,
Road.
I'm sorry, there's 51 feet. The width of the existing,
Easement to Brush Hill Road.
It's a drive, the
it actually
driveway-
it has frontage on the existing private lane of 51 feet.
I see easement to Brush Hill Road at the bottom here on page 2.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure why
Where?
they-
Oh,
the engineer put that there, but,
Is that what's gonna be used to get to Brush Hill Road?
yeah, it has rights. Now it's always used, it doesn't have, the lot 1 on Walcott is totally wooded. It's never accessed out to Walcott. It's always gone out to Brush Hill Road. And the owner's intent is to continue that use.
So this says easement to Brush Hill Road, is that used by one of these lots, lot 2?
Yes, that's the existing condition, really, yeah.
Lot 2,
That's how it says he gets out right now.
so it's 14 feet wide, paved.
That is a mix. It's a variety of widths. Some of it's not, I'd say in general, it's about between 12 and 14 feet, yeah.
It's
In
not
good
even that
condition?
big. Whoa, it's not even that big, and it's a right-of-way. It's not an easement.
It
it's a
says
right-
easement to Brush Hill
I
Road.
understand that, but it's a driveway. It's a common driveway that goes to the back, and it
Is
is
it-
not,
Is it in good condition?
no. It's a driveway for
But-
about 6 houses, 8
we're,
houses,
we're creating a street.
not
Not at that.
down there.
No, but we're creating a street which is going to actually afford access.
To the,
Better
If they
access.
wanted, if they wanted
Emergency
to use
off
it.
of Walcott,
Yes,
not,
Right.
right.
not
Exactly,
back
but
to
they-
that right-of-way.
All I'm saying is that since we
You're asking a
are,
different question than
creating-
Mr. Duffy.
well, no, it just seems to me that we shouldn't worry about the driveway since we're worrying about the street, which is actually going to provide access to both lots.
Yes,
Which is Kinsale Lane, correct?
And,
yes.
and so if the access is properly constructed, we don't have to worry about if they damage a spring in the driveway.
Right, and I will say that,
But they like that Brush Hill Road address.
That was
Yes.
going to be my next question.
well, the lot 2 is actually going to restrict lot 1 from, lot 1 will only have access on the lane that it butts.
What?
Lot 1 will only access the lane to
Right,
transfer, to
To its
travel
driveway.
out to Walcott, yes.
right.
Is there gonna be illumination in here?
There isn't any proposed street lighting at this time. There'll be lights on the house, and driveway lighting. The house is pretty close to the lane. It's probably only gonna be set back a little over the minimum.
Paul?
Yes.
How long is the lane?
The lane is 450 feet,
Thank you.
430 to be exact.
Okay,
Yeah, well, it'll be 450 if we extend it, yeah.
Yeah.
How long is this easement here that goes out to Brush Hill? Brush Hill,
It's
where
probably, that lane's probably 1,000 feet
access
long.
on the end of his driveway,
Yeah, there's a bit large,
Lot one's
when
driveway.
you go by his driveway, there's one more house at the end of that lane.
it goes further in.
Yes,
Yes.
it's a pretty good sized
There's one
house at the
house
end of the
in
lane, yeah.
1033 is in
I think I submitted the assessors plans, but Yeah, that lane's probably between 750 to 1,000 feet long.
To lot 2 or to the full length?
To the full
next.
Yeah, the full length.
Where's the nearest hydrant?
This, I believe this is one right across the street. There's several hydrants on that lane.
On Kinsale Road or on Wolcott Road?
On,
Okay, so it's on the driveway.
yes,
The hydrants are on the
there's a
driveway.
hydrant on the driveway, yeah.
And is the fire department happy enough about this?
Yeah, I believe they didn't,
They haven't even looked at it, or they haven't made comment about it.
Okay,
Right.
but just ask them.
sure.
You got me curious. Where is the hydrant?
It's on the driveway.
On Kinsale Lane?
No, it's on the driveway, from
To-
Brush Hill
To
Road,
Brush Hill Road?
Yes.
and they don't show it, so.
And I'm not sure what the width of that, that water line is.
So you probably should give us a little bit of specification about the driveway, since if the fire people are going to be
Sure.
using that to tie in their hoses.
There's also, there's a hydrant right on Walcott, too.
Near the intersection of the new Kinsale Lane?
Yes.
So is that shown?
No, it should be. Maybe, it might be in the existing conditions plan.
Might be a good idea to show how far that is from the corner
Sure.
of Kinsale.
Start, stop?
Yes.
Well, it should be, you should show that, because
Yeah, we'll call that out in the existing conditions.
that's a,
It is shown on the drawing 1 of 4.
on,
It's right near the corner of lot 1.
Oh, yes, yeah, it's right there, yep.
What's the size of the water main coming in,
The
Paul,
hydrant.
proposed?
Each house will have its own, and Lot 1, it's a relatively short run, so it'll be a 1-inch copper. Lot 2 might be a 2-inch copper.
So we can't have a hydrant in there if there's no water
Well, there's a
main?
hydrant abutting Lot 1. There's a hydrant directly abutting Lot 1.
Where?
On Walcott.
On Walcott Road?
Yes.
Right there.
Yeah, but it's 450 feet in here, and there's no
Right.
hydrant in
No, I
there.
believe there's a hydrant on the lane, the private lane that creates the access to the existing
But
house.
what distance is it from that hydrant to the existing house? We don't know.
Well, to the existing house, well, it's whatever the existing condition is. It's on the
But what's the
private.
distance between the existing house and the hydrant on the way coming in?
You'll have to look that up, that's all.
Yeah, we'll have to determine that.
okay.
But we may need a hydrant in there, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it's relatively close, but we'll
Well,
locate it.
we have to find out from the chief how close it can be, and how far it
We
can be.
will find out.
Yeah.
We will find out. What else? Street trees?
I mean, the other thing this lane will do, will create better access for fire vehicles to get to the end of the existing private lane. Because there's,
Well, I mean, when you're going to tie right into the existing driveway, the fire department could in fact go down Kinsale and.
Go right up into
and
the-
Through the
then
guy's driveway?
Run, yeah,
sure.
and then, because they're going to be touching.
His driveway looks awful narrow as he heads out
Well,
to the
no, I
easement.
mean, it's got a big bump right.
Oh, he's redoing the driveway. It'll
Look in
be,
front of the existing garage at that paved area
Yeah.
there.
No, I'm just saying where it narrows before it gets to,
But the
Yeah.
fire engine would be in that spot. The question would be, could they get their hose to the hydrant from there?
yeah, I believe they could. but, Yeah, we'll locate on the existing lane, the closest hydrant.
Did you find out what the standard is for widths between hydrants, for me,
yeah,
Sure.
from the fire chief? Thank
he
you.
keeps, accesses this house too.
What about street trees?
That one, this one, this one.
Maybe one more.
There's another little one.
We could,
There's a little one.
He wants to keep using that.
Yep.
Is he-
It might be nice to have a few street trees.
yeah, we could place them on on the initial 300 feet of
Yeah, I
lane
would think
coming in.
that would be a good thing to do. And we're going to waive the sidewalks? Do you have that waiver in?
Yes, he's got it in there.
Yeah, no sidewalks. And no streetlights.
And no curbing.
The houses are pretty close to the lane, so,
Right, well, I mean, it's, in many respects, it's like a driveway,
right.
except it's going to be better constructed.
So you're gonna put in no streetlights too, right?
Right.
And the overhead electrical, we talked about already.
Can you?
Yes.
I see your proposed poles, but I don't see the existing poles on the
Yeah,
existing plan.
they show in the, they're not called out, but these two things are the existing poles.
Really?
They're in good shape, they're fairly new. So obviously the location they're in now doesn't make sense with where the house is gonna be located in lot 1, but
So you're moving them?
yes, we're gonna move them. So we move them to the grass strip that's in between the lane,
They're here.
the south side of the lane.
The next shows me here.
So they're having overhead electric.
Just down the initial part of the lane, and then it'll be underground services to both houses. It's existing as overhead right now.
You're going to use the two poles.
No, they're replacing the two poles.
You're going to replace the two poles?
No, we're gonna be using,
They're up
You're
here,
gonna
and
do that.
they're gonna move them down here.
Well,
Whose poles are they?
they're private poles. They're owned by the owner.
So when you say you reuse them, you're literally gonna take them out of the ground and
Sure, they're in good shape. They're not that old.
It says PROP, proposed, I think, right?
Yes,
I thought you said it was existing.
well, they're existing, but they're not in the ground yet.
they're in the
no,
ground,
there are existing.
but they're in, the location doesn't.
But they're not in the proposed location.
No.
Right.
The actual poles
Gonna pull
are
them out
not
of the
in the
ground,
proposed
move
location.
Yes. I was
You could
confused.
go look at the
I was
poles,
confused when he
Bernie.
said he was gonna reuse them. He means literally pull them out of the ground and replant them in a different location.
Yes.
Reuse the wood pole.
Is it actually that cost effective, just out of curiosity? Reusing
Yeah,
them?
compared to buying new poles, or,
Yeah,
actually, Milton, in most circumstances, the telephone company provides the poles.
oh, okay.
There's no charge, so.
Get that pole out.
There are wires on these poles?
We might be able to
now?
get them to pull them and reset them.
Okay.
There were,
Are
Like
there
I
wires
said,
on these
pure idle
poles?
curiosity, I
Yeah.
was just wondering.
just
No,
seemed like you're waste not to use them again.
Are there wires on these poles?
There's telephone wires. What happened was, originally the owner was intended to build a new home in Lot 2, and then he decided to preserve the existing structure. And so, but he had already cut
It's
the
talking about
gas and
here.
had the electrical removed from the house, so he has to put new services.
How old would you say the poles are? There's a stencil on it that says the age, you know?
Um, I didn't notice, but they seem no more than 10 years old or so.
Negative.
They're in good shape.
Now, on your utility services, if they're not in the right-of-way, there should be a utility easement for them.
Right. The poles will be set in the right of way.
Right.
But,
But your gas and, I mean, if,
when we pass underneath the lane for the underground services.
yeah, once you go underground, I mean, there really need to be, except, I mean, once you get onto Lot 2, it simply is that if Lot 1 is going to be served by utilities coming over Lot
Oh,
2,
crossing Lot
then
2.
there has to be a utility easement so that
Sure,
Lot 1 has rights,
right.
okay?
Yep, that's fine.
And you should, I mean, this sort of indicates you're not quite sure where they are. And I suppose that there is a way around it to say wherever they are, there's an easement, but that may not be good enough.
Well, the poles are
we know where the poles are.
The new poles are on
We're
here.
talking about gas lines,
Oh, gas lines.
water lines.
They exist right now on the proposed Kinsale Lane, those gas.
They've already been cut. They were cut because originally you had a demolition permit, so there'll be 2 new gas services off Walcott.
Directly from Walcott, there's no gas or water into this Kinsale Lane right now.
Correct.
So there's no.
It does show,
So it's going to go down Kinsale Lane, that's fine.
yes,
And then your covenant is going, your homeowner's agreement will discuss the utilities and the right to use them.
right.
So there isn't some line somewhere that isn't identified as critical to either lot.
Right, the gas is called out in this, it runs on the southern side of the lane.
It will run on it is
Yeah,
not
it
there.
will run, yes. That's our intention with it,
And the water will run on the other side,
yes.
and there's no sewer.
The sewer comes in from the back, yeah, from
All
Big
right,
Blue.
so there'll be a sewer
There'll be an
easement.
easement for that, yes.
Okay.
So the only underground utility that the both will be sharing would be the gas.
Right.
The water.
No, the water's coming into Lot 1 on its own, and he doesn't
Oh,
show the
okay.
water to Lot 2, so I don't know where it's
Okay,
coming
so
from.
lot 2 is getting its own water service.
Where is the water coming in from?
It's gonna come down the lane, he's putting a new water service in,
All right, so it's going to go down Kinsale Lane also.
yes.
What about
Okay.
Comcast and RCN? What do they do?
What's that?
Yeah, all I can
They'll
figure
come
is
down the
overhead
poles and then they'll
pole.
go underground.
OHP. What is OHP?
OHP.
Whereas
Oh, wait, gas comes into Dennis's house.
Overhead power,
overhead power, okay. But, and the gas goes down Kinsale, it branches off to Lot 1 and continues on to
yes.
Lot 2. The water comes in from Walcott directly to Lot 1,
Yeah.
and then you say you're gonna run another line that's not shown on this drawing yet, on Kinsale Lane, all the ways down to the,
Yes, that's correct. I'm not sure why it doesn't
it's
show
not,
the
it's none of
water.
my business in a sense, but why don't you just run the water down Kinsale Lane and branch it off to Lot 1 as well then?
It looks like what happened was the engineer might have thought that
He already had water?
Lot 2 already had water. That's why I did it that way. But we're gonna bring a new water service in.
All right.
And what about sewage? Is it
Sewer's
septic?
coming from Big Blue, there's an easement between 2 homes.
Oh, I see it.
It's coming around, yeah, it comes in from the...
6-inch sewer,
It's already on the property.
gravity, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
there's water in that house now. Where's it coming from?
I don't know. Maybe they never cut the service.
Maybe it's in the area of Kinsale Lane.
Well, since you're going
Oh,
to
it
put
comes
in a
from
new
a-
service, we
comes
don't
from
have
a
to worry
private lane.
about that.
Comes from the private lane, there's water on the private lane. But
So
I-
then Lot 1 wouldn't have to have anything off, as far as water goes, off of
But-
Kinsale.
But they're going to.
But their intent is to put a new service in.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. That makes sense because new water pipes give you better pressure.
Right.
And if you're gonna be digging all of this up anyway, you might as well put in a new water line,
Exactly.
So you gotta cut and cap the
Now, what else do we,
service.
Right.
what else do we want to know? Is the stop sign is the traffic commission's department? If there is a stop sign?
I'll give it back to DPW and ask the engineers if it is warranted.
It's gonna be maintained as a private way, right?
Yeah.
Right, but it is
Who
a
plows
street.
it? Is that gonna be in the covenants of the homeowners?
Yes.
The association?
Yes,
Plowing?
part of the association.
And this is always going to be maintained as a private way, there's no intention to ever ask it to become a public way?
That's correct, yes.
Is it gonna be constructed per planning board specifications for street?
It's going to be,
The asphalt and, yeah, the preparation, the asphalt.
Sometime in the future, it could be.
well, it's going to be this,
Like
but
Lowell.
this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, there's a section in the page 4.
And you're going to find out about the drainage bill
Yes.
and when are we going to hear from you next? Are you coming in on the 8th?
Yes, I'd like to.
What time can we offer? What's a good model for him to use for the covenant? I suppose,
What's the last one we did? Or something like this?
we don't want you to reinvent the wheel.
Lowell Circle?
Did we do it in Perkins? I don't know if we do it in Perkins.
Lowell was designed always to be a private way, but it's kind of changed, so.
What about the open space on, one of those opens, the one on Harlan Street?
Harlan, yeah.
That may have a covenant, a homeowners association.
540. I actually have them down for 7:45.
Okay,
That works.
we'll see you then.
Thank you.
And get us, let's work on that covenant because that's important.
So bring it that night.
Well, yeah, get it in
I'll
as
send
soon
it to
as you
Bill
can.
earlier.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks.
thank you.
Now,
7:15 or thereabouts?
so the hearing's continued until November 8th at 7:45 here in the Carol Blute Conference Room. Or perhaps upstairs, but probably down here. We're getting used to it.
Going to be down here because you have,
We have a lot of stuff that night.
Okay, down here. Down here it is.
Right.
Let's have a report on the Bosworth, what's the number, Hillside Street?
333.
333 Hillside. We're waiting for the lawyers to come to agreement, and of course, we probably won't wait forever, but what's the story, Bill?
the short and the skinny of it is, when Mr. Gallegly wrote his draft access easement, he added in several people that he said have rights along the
Right.
benefited lands. And he listed the town, he listed Mr. Gregg, he listed the deans. What he failed to mention is there was a previous owner, Frederick Chase, who divided his land, and in the deed that he had, from Frederick Chase to Alexander Forbes in 1954, he deeded access to the different lots, lots A, B, C, and D, and none of those were in
The
the,
proposal, okay.
in here.
So
Okay.
we're working to
Have
straighten
those-
this out.
We're having those included. We're having it updated because part of the lock land has been sold
Okay,
so that it has the new owner's names on it.
okay.
The
And
comments coming from Mr. Gregg, who has probably the most land after,
most benefited land,
most benefited land.
most amount of benefited land.
He didn't have issues with it. He understands the
Okay.
premise behind it. I did send in Attorney Sheffield's comments for Mr. Dean, who has direct access to it.
Yeah,
Mr. Mussey and Mr. Weltman and Mr. Swanson are the three who have rights that need to be added in.
okay.
All of these got sent to Mr. Gallegly. I talked to Charlie yesterday. Charlie told Mr. Gallegly, fix it.
Okay. Now, I have a vote that as soon as I get this thing, I can file a decision once they agree to it.
Right.
So, what's our timeline? Do we have any critical dates? We don't want to
We're not
constructive
up against the
approval
date
case.
yet. No, we're not there yet.
Okay, good.
I do have this down for 8 o'clock on the 8th.
All right, so we'll continue this until the 8th at 8 o'clock. And
At which
hopefully,
time I'll
hopefully
try
I
to-
can, you know,
See this
exercise the
beforehand.
vote that we've already taken. Now, let's have a master plan update, please.
Well, as Mr. Clark said, we are arranging a tour for the master plan committee and for the consultants. So we, as a master plan committee, can introduce them to the town. The consultants discuss the schedule with us. Bill and I have set up a weekly meeting with them to make sure that we're all kept on track. We'll be getting the notes for that to you and to the master plan committee soon. And our next meeting is the 27th of November. Is that right, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah, the 27th of November, so we are proceeding apace. We're going to extend the schedule out slightly and change some things from the way it was in the master plan, but we still expect to have at least a draft report for the Maytown meeting. And we expect to have information for this board in time if this board so chooses to put a warrant on for the Maytown meeting for the next steps. We will have the required information. If you remember the RFP, we'd ask for a report on what costs would be and what the stages would be, and we will have information so that the board is able to make a decision as to whether or not to proceed on the basis of cost information. So I'll keep you updated with how that is going. So, and that's what I have.
All right, now, as I look at the agenda, there's nothing else on it except for an executive session to discuss salary and compensation of the town planner.
And was that posted for a specific time, or just to be at the end of this meeting?
The end of the meeting.
Okay.
So,
I have one thing,
yes,
and that was, as you can see, Mrs. Donovan isn't here tonight.
who?
But Margaret is not here, but that does not mean that she didn't leave something for the chairman.
Oh,
And I'm just passing it down.
I'm just passing it down.
are you just passing it down?
I am, and now it's,
We've all passed it to you. Look, we didn't even look at it.
All right, so this is
she wanted you to know.
General Laws, Chapter 40A, the Zoning Act, Section 16, entitled Final Unfavorable Decisions by Permit Granting Authorities, Reconsideration, Withdrawal of Petitions for Variance or Applications for Special Permit.
Section
And
16.
I think this probably has to do with the fact that I indicated at the town meeting that were the 131 Elliott Street developer so inclined as to say, let's talk,
This is just one of those things that this is how people watch. You think they don't watch you on these programs. They are watching. They come back and they make comments, and
right.
I got 2 emails, 2 phone calls, and 2 personal visits.
All
But
from the same
it is,
people?
it is basically true that if we, 4 of us say to the developer, okay, all is forgiven, let's resume where we left off, we can do that.
Okay, that's good to know.
You're,
I agree.
okay, so, but this is excellent, and anyone who is up late tonight and wants a good reading
That was
should
48,
look at
section
48,
16.
section 16.
Good to know.
The question, Mr. Chairman, has the developer requested to start talking?
Has the developer appealed,
N-
as far as we know?
No, he did not appeal within the 20 days.
All right.
As far as we know.
It didn't come to the town clerk's office, it didn't come to the selectman's office, it didn't come to my office.
Okay.
It's past the 20 days, and we're moving on the comments coming from town meeting Monday night.
Okay. Well, so, shall we, how do we do this? Do we adjourn the meeting and go into executive session, or do we go into, no, we go into executive session, and then we come out and adjourn. And so we, going into executive session, not to come out except to adjourn is what we would be doing for the purposes of discussing.
And we need a roll call vote to go in.
Yes.
Rather than keep the 14 million people out in the hitherlands, you brought up this,
You know,
you're just gonna leave it?
that is,
Any guidance?
as a, no, I mean, if the
Margaret?
developer wants to come back to the planning board, I have every confidence that 4 members of this board will welcome the developer back.
I would say 5 members of the board, there's 5 of us.
At least 4
Yes.
members of the board would welcome the developer back. All he has to do is knock on our door, and we
conditions?
will let him in.
No conditions?
I don't think so.
I don't see
yes.
how we, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, since Monday night, there's been a lot of talk about meeting Mr. Connolly informally by various people.
You know,
I've been talking with some people about, including Emily. So I think we'll leave it at that, that there may be some conversations with Mr. Connolly by
Right.
several people from various boards.
right. And you know, it's always possible there will be conditions as to what we discuss, but, you know, it seems to me we want to get something done here.
Yeah, I think we've always recognized that that's an important
And,
parcel, not
we're-
just to that area,
We're
but to the
not
town.
out to punish anyone, we're out to try and get a good project.
Yeah,
Would these meetings be open to the public?
Yeah. Oh, the meetings of
Let's have
individuals would
transparent,
not be.
you know.
I mean, I've met with Mr. Conley numerous times,
Right.
and I have thought we had productive sessions, but they don't appear to have been productive. But there's no reason that a different cast of characters or the same cast of characters with a little bit of time might not have a better result.
there's no harm in
But
talking.
when it's a meeting that has not involved the board, but might involve a board member, it doesn't have to be public.
Unless there were 3 of us. If there were
Right.
3 of us, or if the committee
Right.
if this
If it was
board
a
appointed a
subcommittee.
subcommittee, then it would have to be public, absolutely.
Okay?
Why can't they talk in public?
Well, because if we post every time we talk, Steve Conley calls, he says, sorry, we've got to,
People then would tend to be on their best behavior if it was in public.
we are happy to talk to him in public, we're happy to talk to him in private. But not as a board. I
Right.
mean, I'm
Yeah, yeah.
happy to talk to him as an individual, but I wouldn't ever act for the board. But,
Obviously.
I mean, if he were to call me up, as he has done, you know, the telephone call is not covered by the open meeting law.
But we never got any place from these little private meetings that took place.
He never did, but we didn't get any place with the public meetings either, and he didn't like the public meetings because he thought that there were a lot of people at the public meetings who were being obstructionist.
I don't see any reason why we couldn't, as a community, start talking with the developer again. Whether it's Steve Connolly and certain members of his team, you've mentioned that you've had some discussions, we had a quick chat about it today. However those work out, it's an important parcel of land to the town. I'm sure that he doesn't want to leave it unproductive forever. It's an important parcel of land for that neighborhood. I think anything that we can do to send a signal to encourage people to begin discussions again is a good idea.
We are still a planning board, though, correct?
We are
Oh, yeah.
indeed, and a informal discussion would resolve nothing, other than the
Absolutely.
fact that the planning board would have its say.
Yeah, any project would have, to. I mean, any formal project would still have to come back before this board and go through the same public process,
Well,
absolutely.
we went through the private, didn't Steve meet with the neighbors on a couple of occasions?
He did, but he didn't
Yeah.
reach consensus.
And it may be, you know, we've seen projects here, we've seen projects in other towns, it may be that what needs to actually happen is that he and the neighborhood have to meet without any involvement from the planning board and come to something, and then bring it to us jointly. That would be one very successful way of doing it. Because then he'd be able to come to the planning board and say, look, I've been meeting with the neighbors, this is what we've all come together. That would actually shorten any new public hearing process by quite a bit.
And the revitalization committee would be a good. would be a
Revitalization
good,
committee, yeah, very valuable
tool.
ally, so.
No, I mean, if we knew how to do it, Bernie, we would. And
We are still the planning board.
we are the planning board, and we are,
The other thing didn't work.
you're not being,
The other thing didn't work, all those meetings and,
well,
it just didn't work.
it doesn't mean that, I mean, you saw what happened with that variance project down the street. It did work. I mean, they had lots of public hearings, lots of private hearings with the neighbors, and they hammered something out that,
What project are you talking about?
the Elliott
3650.
Street,
Oh, 50, okay.
right.
Yeah, that was about a 2-year process before they even came to us with the neighbors.
And ours was a 2-year project without them.
Exactly.
Well, it would have been good to get the neighbors involved earlier.
Do we invite them, or do they call us up?
neighbors?
No, the Conleys. Do we invite them, or do they call us and,
I think that people are talking.
It's a reasonable question, I don't know the answer.
I mean, I do think people are talking with the Conleys about how this can be put back on track.
people who could actually vote and approve this thing?
No,
They
not,
talking?
not members of the board. I don't know
No.
that anyone on the board is,
Okay.
is discussing anything with the Conleys. I'm certainly not.
Shouldn't be, okay,
Yeah,
good.
I'm not either.
So, but
Unless they're here,
well, you know, there
And
are
the lights
lots,
are
there are
on.
lots of people interested in the project, and, you know, intermediaries can be very helpful. So, but the planning board is the planning board, and we are the special permit granting authority. No question.
And that's an important point, Bernie, that you brought up, that we are the special permit granting authority.
that's right.
Yeah.
All right,
Now, they're about to tear the building down. I don't need to continue this, but
yeah.
what if they tear one of these buildings down before we start to,
Maybe that would be part of the communication. I mean, if this is gonna
Yeah.
get back on track, I mean, this.
I'd love to know.
We sat in the
I've
town
only
meeting
been
and.
sitting here for like
the town
25
said
years. I mean,
Portion of the
you know.
building was actually not falling down, so
I have
I
a
would hope
fee,
that the communication would involve that as well.
I mean, you would have to assume that the Board of Selectmen, at least one of them, are discussing this, because they're talking about tearing the building down, so there must be some communication going there at that level.
It would be a kind of a waste of $200,000 for the town of Milton.
At least.
A short time later, at least, they come up with a development that would work.
Well, remember too, the Board of Selectmen still have to go to the warrant committee for that money. That money hasn't actually been appropriated yet to take the building down. It's simply been put in a place where it could be used
Right.
if the warrant committee agrees.
So again, communication, I would hope the warrant committee would say, well, where does this whole situation stand?
The warrant committee is very good at questioning things.
right, and, yes, the building inspector undoubtedly is communicating. I don't know about Mr. Clark, but he might be.
Blushing.
He's also very
Start
wisely saying,
communicating right
wow.
now.
All right,
Not to rush the meeting, but
so
should we,
let's go into executive session.
you going to call for the roll call?
I'm going to, yes.
Like close the doors?
Well, we have to go into executive session first. Now, motion has been made, I think,
Yes.
to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the salary and compensation of the planning director.
Yes.
And to return to open session solely for the purposes of adjournment.
Yes.
And this is a roll call vote. Mr. Lynch,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Duffy,
Yes.
Ms. Innes,
Yes.
Mr. Whiteside, yes. All right.